Welcome to Modern Homestead Revival. I'm Holly, and today we are going to make Beautyberry bug spray. Now, if you haven't heard of Beautyberry before, it is actually a wild plant that grows all across the mostly southern United States. It's actually a very fragrant bush, and you've probably seen them in woodlands, pineland areas. A lot of people don't know that they can use it in their landscaping as well. You might consider it a weed even. Well, actually, Native Americans used it to make a tea. They used the leaves and the roots and the stems to make a tea for malaria and for rheumatism. They also used it for lots of other medicinal purposes. But today we can use Beautyberry in several different ways. Now, it does produce a summer blooming flower that's a great pollinator during the summertime. But then in the winter, it produces beautiful bright purple berries, which is probably what you have seen along the roadside before. Now, those bright berries are wonderful winter food for wildlife. And you can also make a jam out of those berries as well. But little did most people know is that Native Americans also use the leaves as a bug repellent. Now, when you see Beautyberry out in the wild, you can smell it. It really has a nice aromatic, kind of a floral fragrance, and the leaves are a little bit fuzzy. Now, they would actually take the leaf and rub it on their skin, and you could do that as well, but it's kind of not the best way to use it. So what we're going to do is to show you how to make a spray in a bottle. Now, I'm using alcohol, but you could also use witch hazel or whatever base that you would like to do. Basically, what we're going to do is to create a tonic using the leaves and the stems and let it sit for about 2 weeks to create our spray. And then we're also going to add some rosemary essential oil. Now, the way I discovered the Beautyberry bug spray was during my Florida Master Naturalist class. With each module that we do, we have to come up with a final project. And so my project, I decided to make the Beautyberry bug spray. Now, honestly, I've never had success with any type of a natural bug spray. We spend a lot of time deep in the woods, and let me tell you, there's nothing more than DEET to help keep off the ticks and chiggers and all those different kinds of things. So now I wouldn't necessarily recommend this to take the place of those products when you're deep in the woods, especially hunting or something like that. But it is great for occasional outdoor use in your own backyard, going to the beach and all those different things. So I suggest testing it for yourself first, see if it works for you, because I'm not sure that it works for everyone. But what happened is phenomenal to me, so that's why I started making it and giving it away as gifts. So for my class, I made the Beautyberry bug spray in advance before the final project, and I added some rosemary oil to it because I do know that it has some bug repellent properties as well. There's many essential oils that do, but this was the only one that I had on hand. So we were actually presenting our projects on a hike in Florida. And so I presented my project, and several people sprayed their legs and arms with the bug spray. I did not, and about 4 or 5 other people didn't spray ourselves that afternoon. Well, we all went home and we met again 2 days later for classroom time. And many of us were itching to death because our ankles and our legs were just covered in chigger bites. They were swollen, my feet were swollen, and we all started talking about it, and so many of us had those bites. Well, we also found out that all the ones that sprayed themselves with the Beautyberry spray did not have one bite. Well, that convinced several people that they had to have some. So I mixed up some more, and I gave it to many of our class members. And then I started getting emails about the bug spray. I got an email from a Florida park ranger saying that it worked wonders on mosquitoes when they were doing their hikes with guests. I got an email from a person who volunteers on the beaches. They do the nighttime sea turtle watch and rescue, and she said it worked wonders for those biting gnats that you have on the beach that are so terrible. And I was amazed, and everyone wanted the recipe, and to me it was so simple. So it has become a wonderful thing for many people that I have met, and now I keep it on hand in my hiking bag on the back porch, and I always keep extra to give to friends as gifts. So we're going to show you how simple and easy it is to make your own Beautyberry bug spray. Now, you will need fresh leaves. It can be any time of the year because you don't need the berries that grow on the plant. You just need the leaves and the stems. You will also need spray bottles. You can pick these up at your local big box store. You can order them online. You can be fancy or you can be cheap. You will also need some alcohol. You could use witch hazel or some other form. That's what we need to do our soaking. Now, I used rosemary oil, and I kind of stick with what I know, and it works really well. But I suppose you could use any kind of essential oil you wanted to that has a bug repellent effect to it. You're also going to want a larger jar to make your concoction in, because it needs to set at least 2 weeks for all of the oils and everything to really come out into the alcohol. And then for your final product, you're also going to want to use a funnel to get it into your sprayer. All right, let's get started. This is what Beautyberry looks like. We're going to come in close to the leaf here. This is a really big bush. Sometimes you'll see them really small, maybe on the roadsides. Now, this time of year, they aren't in bloom, but I see some little purple flowers. So this is what their bloom looks like. Beautiful little purple flowers, which produce a deep purple berry. And we'll show you some of those pictures. So in making our bug spray, we need the leaves. And the leaves actually have a little bit of texture, almost feels like lamb's ear. And when you rub it, you can have a nice smell. So this is what our Beautyberry looks like. This is a real large bush. You can trim it, keep it trimmed if you want to use it for hedging, and it will stay compact. Otherwise, it'll get a little leggy like this, which is fine. When it's in full bloom, it's gorgeous. But this is what our leaves look like. This is what we're looking for. And the smell, you'll have that distinctive floral fragrant smell. Those deep veins. Really is a beautiful plant. I'm sure that you've seen Beautyberry bushes in your area and just didn't know what it was. Now that you do, I hope maybe you'll think about adding it to your landscape. Now let's get started making our own Beautyberry bug spray. We're going to take our mason jar and we're going to take the leaves. Now the leaves is all that we need. We do not need the berries, but I would tear up the leaves to put them in the jar. Now you'll notice the smell as you tear up the leaves, that aromatic smell, very fragrant. You'll start to feel the oil. I would wash your leaves first if I didn't mention that, so go ahead and wash your leaves. We don't want any added creatures in our bug spray or anything to clog the sprayer either. And we're just going to tear it up, and we're tearing it because we want to release the oils that are in the leaves. Now I also add the stems because in a lot of things that I read, Native Americans use the stems in a lot of the things that they prepared. So we're going to throw the stems in for good measure. Now I'm going to fill the jar with alcohol. Again, you could use witch hazel or something more natural to your suiting, but you need that kind of an alcohol type of a base to release it. Now when you're using the spray, the alcohol is going to evaporate, but it's going to leave that oil behind, and that's really what is going to deter the pests. Now you want to cover the leaves. So we're just making a small amount here in this jar, for example. So we want to cover the leaves. And take our lid, which I left inside. We're going to cover it and we're going to let it sit for at least a week. The longer you leave it, the better it's going to be, in my opinion. But you want to leave it at least a week for all those oils to come out of the leaves and really, infuse that alcohol. So we're going to set this aside. After the mixture has sat for at least a week, it's going to look like this. It is green. The color is green. So even in my jars, my little spray bottles, it's a green color, and that is the color of the spray itself. It's not the color of the bottle. The color of the bottle that I used was clear. So it is green. It does not leave a green residue on your skin, I promise. We haven't had any type of issue of staining or anything like that, but you always want to be careful and maybe test it, but it's worth a try. Having anything to help with mosquitoes and other biting flies is wonderful. So when we're done, you have that alcohol smell, but you also have an aromatic smell. Now what I also did with some of my jars is I put in a rosemary stem in there so that oil of that rosemary could infuse. And then we're still going to add the rosemary oil to our spray bottle itself. So let's put it together. So let's put our bug spray together. We've let our mixture sit for at least a week. I did add a sprig of rosemary to mine. You don't have to do that to yours. I think the oil works really well. My original recipe did not have the sprig in there. Now I keep rosemary on hand as an herb that I use to cook with. I use it for lots of different things, so I thought, why not? We'll stick it in, see how it goes. So you're gonna take your spray bottle. If you were just testing this, you could make a small batch like this. You wouldn't have to find bunches of it and make a big batch. You could make a small batch as a tester. You can tweak it with your own oils. If you have something that seems to work for you, by all means, you can try different things. I always say experimenting is the best way to find what works for you. So we're going to take our spray bottle, open it up, and we do need a funnel for this project, unless you're really good at pouring into small things, which I am not. And we are going to pour some in. So I want to show you that our bottle is clear and how the mixture really is green. Woo! I'm really good at overfilling, but I got it this time. So here is what our mixture looks like in the bottle. Definitely green, right? Now what I want to do is add our rosemary oil. In my unscientific experimenting, I use 3 drops of rosemary essential oil to each spray bottle, and these are about 3 ounces. So I have a dropper, but if you're good at pouring, by all means. I am not. So I'm going to get a dropper, and I'm going to do 3 drops, which went really quick. And that's it. We are ready to roll. Put the lid on. Now if you're using this for yourself, you can just keep it just like this. I keep one in my car, and then I have a backpack that I use when we go on hikes. I keep one in there, and I love to give them as gifts, especially this size. You can get these containers for about 99 cents at a place like Walmart, or you can order them online. You can get as fancy or as cheap as you want to, especially if it's going to be outside and thrown around. You do what's best for you. Now, I do make labels for them, and I made labels to give away that shows the actual berry on it, and I will put these in the post link for you so you can print them out or make your own. We had a class here at the Giles Frontier where we had kids come with their parents, and they all learned to make the bug spray. And part of the class was to come up with their own name for the bug spray. And we'll share that with you in our post as well. They came up with some wonderful ideas and beautiful labels. So that is how simple and easy it is to make your very own natural Beautyberry bug spray. So go out and give it a try.